Okay, so today we're on the theme of emotional intelligence and how it can be effective in the field. They've realized they've tested people, they've seen that people with super high IQs and things like that, ranging from anything north of 130, um, they realize that anything past 130 is kind of diminishing returns in the sense that it doesn't make you more successful in life. It's it's like textbook intelligence, but it's not practical intelligence, which is way more important. Practical intelligence combines IQ and emotional intelligence.
Is that like book smart versus street smarts? Or
Exactly that. Yeah, and that's definitely how we say it today, and that's definitely what the case is. But practical intelligence will take you much farther. They ended up finding this man on a farm and kind of near where we're near our area. I think it's like Kearney, Missouri, which is outside Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
And this guy's IQ is like 160. His IQ is a little bit past Einstein's was. And this guy can tell you everything about everything under the sun. But as far as monetary gain, as far as financial gain, as far as our idea of success, he wasn't that. But this guy could win any Jeopardy game. And what he was lacking was practical intelligence. And practical intelligence is that grip on emotional intelligence for you to read the room and know how people are feeling, or at least be curious on how people are feeling, enough so where you can move up move up the ladder, enough so that you can sustain your position.
Yeah.
And so to avoid that trap of being that guy who's super aware of all of the mechanics of things, you have to get going. You have to take action. You have to actually try to, you have to show up in different ways, because you don't want to be that person that just knows but doesn't apply. And so, right to this episode and the episode previous to this one, we're talking about that practical intelligence, the thing that's more important than IQ alone.
I agree.
With that, what scenario have you been in that you felt like you could have used more awareness, more social awareness, more emotional awareness? You don't give the exact time or timestamp on that and where, but what situation you were in that you felt like, okay, if I approach this again, if I could have a chance to go back and approach it again, I could have left a better impression in the room.
No, that's a good question. I remember when, at least in 8th grade, I was like the beginning of my 8th grade year, I had to move schools.
Okay.
I had moved to a new school because we were moving, and new school district. Well, same school district, but just different school.
Uh-huh.
So I remember in my old school, I wasn't really the most popular guy. People thought I was annoying. People thought I was a pest, yada, yada, yada.
What year is this again? I'm sorry?
2008.
Okay, but what grade would that have been for you?
8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, you're good. But at my old school, people thought I was a pest. People thought I was annoying. People thought I was, I wasn't the most popular guy. Everyone knew me, but I wasn't the most popular guy. So I made a point of, I'm going to move to this. When I move, I'm going to try to become the most popular guy. I'm going to be a cool guy, yada, yada, yada. So I moved to this new school, and I tried to fit in with everyone. You know what I mean? I try to be everyone's friend. I try to be cool with everyone. But I realized that a lot of people were pushing me away.
Okay.
Even though they were letting me in, they were
Right.
pushing me away.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because I was trying too hard. I was trying to be like popular. I was trying to get everyone's numbers. I was trying to get everyone's Facebook, yada, yada, yada. And
Facebook days.
yeah, Jesus. and it was just very, very hard for me to adjust, because I was this way at this school, and this was a good way for me to start fresh.
Right.
Where I came off as too overbearing and too strong. You know what I'm saying? And if I had to do it over again, going into a new environment, I was quiet when I first moved there for like the first 3 a week. You know what I
Right.
mean? I probably would have been quiet longer, a lot longer.
Okay.
And that's actually, believe it or not, that's exactly what I did my 9th grade year. Because I moved to a new school again. Same school district, just a different school. I was very quiet because I didn't want to come off as too whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But even I still had troubles with that. But just focusing on the 8th grade year, I would have observed more. You know what I mean? Now that I'm older and now that I'm a lot more mature,
Right.
I would have observed more of how the inter school dynamics went, how different groups interacted with each other, how the black people at this school interacted with each other, how the white people at this school interacted with each other, because it's different from the black people and white people in my old school.
Okay.
So it's weird, man. Now that I'm 28, if I was to put my 28-year-old mind into my 8th grade mind, and you know, we always do this, or even our 16-year-old minds,
Right,
like, yo, we would do things way differently.
Like it's a video game or something. Like we'll go back, like I'll dominate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, it'll be over. Like, if I go back, even put my mindset right now, my freshman year in college, it's all like, oh my God, dude, it's over. You know what I mean? But that's what it means to get older and mature, because you realize things and you adjust. But answering your question, in 8th grade, that's definitely what I feel like that's a great example, because I went into this new school trying to be the most popular kid. I came off as creepy, weird, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was too much.
Right.
And I would have just been a lot more observant, would have been a lot more quiet, would have never tried to jump into a group immediately. It's okay to make friends,
Right.
but it's like jumping into a group and trying to be a certain way and trying to do a certain thing. It's just when you're new, you know, because these kids have known each other for almost 3 years. I've only known them for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So there's a difference.
Right.
So, but what about you, man? Is there like an example that you would have done, like you would have done something different?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had a question for you as well, but let me go ahead.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's finish off that. Let's piggyback on that. So basically, if you could go back to your 8th grade self, obviously you would maneuver things differently.
A lot differently.
We all have that fantasy of just like dropping back 10 years into something, dropping back 15 years into something. We know would kill it in that scenario. What things you think 10 years from now that you'll look back on about your 28-year-old self that you'll say, if I could just slightly nudge this thing, I would do it different?
Have a little bit more of a structured schedule.
Okay.
Like sometimes I find myself after I complete my task, I don't have anything to do.
Okay.
So a part of me is like, do I keep going? Because I wake up so early.
Right.
Sometimes I forget about that. I wake up so early and I get started on things early that by the time it's 2 o'clock, it's like I'm done with everything. So what I do between 2 and 9 when I go to sleep, do I go back and look over everything, just look over everything again?
Yeah.
Or do I just chill and relax?
Right.
And I know this isn't really a great example, but I think 10 years from now, I think my 38-year-old self would be like, dude, you need to go out and do stuff more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you need to get out. Like, I just go for walks, especially during the week.
Yeah.
I don't really, during the weekend I go out and do stuff, but during the week I just don't.
Right.
So I need to go out more and go to more networking events and interact with people. And that's something that I do need to, it's just right now just busy with the movie.
Of course.
And I got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of good stuff,
Right.
not busy work, but actually business work, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but right now and my coworkers gave me shit about this like yesterday, that I need to go out and have more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, if I, jumping 10 years from now, looking back, or even today, looking back on last year, the year before, one thing that I've always had, especially in my adult life, I didn't have it as much in my youth, was a leadership mentality. I was good at getting the job done for the collective in a way. I had a group of friends that I helped, kind of housed a lot of people when they first came out here, type of thing. And I helped steer them, or helped, us all stay out here a little bit longer. And that happens. I have another friend who did the same thing with his friends back in New Orleans, and he just put everybody on. And so they call it a linchpin in business, connect people together and things like that. The problem I had with it was the spearheading part seemed to be great, but never follow a leader that loves power more than they love people. That's one thing everyone should take away from this.
That's great. That's a great quote, man.
And that's something that a lot of people trip up on. The reason why is a lot of the leaders that we see are leading for power. there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure your love for people outweighs
Your love for
your love for
power.
power, right? And so, with that being the case, I thought everyone's metric of success, and their part is I thought everyone's metric of success was the same metric that I thought success was. I thought success was to make it in this industry and do this and do that and have the car, have the house that the house where I wanted, maybe multiple houses in different cities and things like that. So my metric of success was very, very stationary. It's just a one thought of this is success, nothing else is success. Other people had metric of success was family. I kind of disregarded that. Other people's metric of success was their happiness or, and I disregarded that. And so these people around me, little did I know, were brewing up some sort of, not necessarily resentment towards me, though I just wasn't being emotionally intelligent, even though like that textbook intelligence or IQ took place in that scenario. The practical intelligence was just out of the window.
For sure.
Because I wasn't listening. And so when people get into acting, bringing it back to that, you're gonna realize there's this reoccurring theme in acting, reoccurring theme in acting, reoccurring theme in acting, reoccurring theme in life. And it all comes back to us listening more. And it's so bizarre because we all worry about what to say. It's like it really comes down to how long to listen. And that's what they said. Respect is solely based off of how long you listen. That's how someone knows they're respected or not, based off how long you listen. And it's not really about what you say. And listening is not just you hearing them speak, but it's also listening to the tone and how that person feels. So if I can go back, I would definitely. I've always been empathetic, but I used to suppress it to try to show this leadership. If I can go back, I would go about it a more healthy, sustainable way. And the reason why we focus on the social aspect of life so much is because it is an interdependent world. No man's an island, and you do need people. We're social creatures. We do need people to get any goal done.
You can be the most selfish, the most narcissistic, the most sociopathic person in the world. At the end of the day, we all want to be loved.
That as well, yeah.
I've never met or ever heard of a human being that did not want to be loved. And not loved as in, popularity, yada, yada, yada. I mean loved as in by other people or by that one person. But like Chad said, it takes no man is an island.
Right.
And I've realized that if I was actually, I want to kind of change my answer. Mm-hmm. If I was 38, when I am 38, I would tell my 28-year-old self, 27, 26, 25, you can't do this by yourself.
Yeah.
You have to collaborate with others.
Right.
You cannot do this by yourself. Be patient. You can't do this by yourself.
And I want to say this last point because we're entering this field. We're learning every day. We're not going to be the pinnacles of this industry that we're speaking about. We're learning with you guys. But one thing I do want to say is to validate what you're saying. What I'm saying is Warren Buffett had an interview, and Warren Buffett's 91. He had an interview at 91, right? This guy started trading stocks, started investing at 11 years old, 80 years ago.
Jesus.
And what he said is, they asked him what's his favorite part about what he does. He said, my favorite thing is having people believe in me with their money that I could grow it still. People give, my friends and my family give me their money to grow it. That's my favorite part about this. He said, I could have done some things faster without having this team and stuff like that, but none of it would be meaningful if I didn't have this team. And so if Warren Buffett can say that, the greatest investor, who are you and I to say that doing this alone and getting to the top is the most important thing.
Right.
So that's just a food for thought. This is Black Hollywood.
Gonna be great.